The stars hung still in the dark space, cold and silent. The battlefield around Epsilon Prime was filled with broken ships, drifting slowly like dead giants. The human fleet looked destroyed, engines off, no movement, no signal. But it was only a mask, a trap waiting to close. Captain Auric Stone stood on the command bridge of the horizon, his eyes fixed on the radar screen. Not a single light moved. The crew whispered softly, their hands shaking on the controls. The silence was heavy, like the calm before a great storm. Auric's heart beat slow but steady. He knew they would come. Far beyond the debris field, alien ships and the Varric were approaching. They were proud and merciless. They believed the humans were finished after their last defeat. Their commander was already celebrating, confident that this was the end of the human race. Auric smiled coldly. "Let them believe that," he said in a quiet voice. "Let them come closer." Around the human ships, hidden mines and drones waited silent and still. The traps were set days ago. Every wrecked ship, every floating piece of metal, but it all had a purpose. "Status?" Auric asked. "All systems ready, sir. Power cores on standby," replied his officer. Auric looked out the window, the faint blue glow of the planet reflecting in his eyes. "They think we're blind," he whispered. "But we see everything." The radar beeped once, a signal. The enemy had entered the field. Auric straightened his coat, his voice calm but sharp. "Battle stations, hold your fire until my word." The silence grew colder. The trap was ready. The storm was about to begin. Across the dark stretch of space, the Varric fleet moved like a swarm of silver knives. Their ships glowed with red engines slicing through the void in perfect formation. Inside the flagship, Commander Varen stood tall, his armor shining under the control room lights. His yellow eyes glimmered with victory. "The humans are finished," he said with a grin. "Their fleet is broken, their defense is gone. What fools they were to fight us." His second officer bowed. "Scanners show no life signals on most of their ships, sir." "It looks like they abandoned them." Varen laughed, a sharp metallic sound. "Abandoned?" "No, they are dead, crushed under their own weakness." He didn't know that every drifting human ship carried silent drones and hidden weapons. The wreckage wasn't dead, and it was watching him. The humans were listening to every word through long-range scanners. On the horizon, Captain Auric stood in the shadows of the control room, hearing the alien broadcast. A small smile touched his lips. "So proud," he murmured. "So blind." His officer Leia looked at him nervously. "They're moving closer, sir. Should we strike?" "Not yet," Auric said softly. "Let them feel safe. Let them think they've won." Out in space, the Varric ships drew near, their lights reflecting off the broken metal around them. The enemy fleet began scanning the wrecks, confident they would find nothing but silence. Varen leaned back in his chair. "Today we erase the last trace of humanity." But far behind the human lines, hidden codes flickered alive on secret terminals. Power levels rose quietly. Engines hummed invisible to enemy scanners. Auric whispered, "They're walking into the fire, and they don't even know it yet." The trap was almost ready to spring. The moment had come. Deep inside the horizon, lights flickered to life. The silent corridors filled with the low hum of power returning. Crew members moved fast, eyes fixed on their controls. Every system was waiting for one signal, just one word. Commander Leia watched her screen as enemy ships entered the heart of the debris field. "They're inside the zone, Captain," she whispered. Auric nodded slowly. His voice was calm, almost cold. "Good, keep the power low. We don't move until I say." Outside, the Varric fleet spread out like hunters. Their sensors scanned the wrecks and still seeing nothing. They didn't notice the tiny glints of metal floating among the debris, the hidden drones. Each drone carried a silent payload, invisible to alien eyes. "Begin code sequence," Auric ordered. Leia pressed a single button. Across the field, dozens of hidden transmitters came alive, flashing faint blue light before disappearing again. The system linked together, forming a deadly web. Inside his ship, Commander Varen frowned. "Strange." Picking up slight interference, his officer replied, "Probably human junk, sir. Nothing to worry about." But before he could finish, a deep pulse shook the air. The first mine exploded, then another and another, a chain of fire stretching across the darkness. "Alert! Incoming energy surge!" shouted one of Varen's soldiers. On the horizon, Auric stood tall. "Now," he said firmly, "all ships and power up." Engines roared to life, blue flames bursting from behind the dead human ships. Gun turrets unfolded, targeting systems locked on. The aliens realized too late. The trap was real. Auric's voice echoed across the comms, hard and sharp. Fire at will. Show them what it means to challenge humanity. The storm had finally begun. The darkness of space exploded into light. Beams of blue and red fire crossed in every direction. The silent void became a storm of chaos. Human ships, once lifeless and drifting, now charged forward with burning engines. Their cannons roared as if the stars themselves had awakened in anger. Captain Auric gripped the railing as the horizon shook under the force of its own weapons. "Target their command ships first," he shouted. The enemy was in total confusion. Varric vessels spun wildly, shields flickering. Their perfect formation shattered in seconds. They fired back, but their shots hit only smoke and shadows. Human ships moved fast, darting through wreckage, striking from every direction. On the alien flagship, Commander Varen's face twisted in rage. "This is impossible!" "They were dead," he screamed. His officers scrambled for control. "Multiple losses, sir. Their mines, they're everywhere." Every asteroid, every floating wreck had become a hidden weapon. Laser turrets rose from broken hulls, releasing waves of plasma fire. The space around Epsilon Prime burned like a living storm. "Keep the pressure," Auric ordered. "Don't give them room to breathe." Leah's ship darted through enemy fire, her voice steady. "Their left flank is breaking, Captain." "Push them harder," Auric replied. "Make them run." Human fighters streaked across the battle, leaving glowing trails behind them. Explosions lit the faces of pilots who refused to fall back. Even outnumbered, they fought with fire in their eyes. The aliens began to retreat, but the humans were already everywhere. It was not just a battle. It was revenge written in fire. Auric looked at the chaos before him and said quietly, "They thought we were finished. But this is only the beginning." The battle burned brighter than any star. Wreckage drifted through the smoke-filled void, glowing with fire. Human ships were battered, but still they fought. Every pilot knew there was no turning back. Not now. Inside the alien flagship, Commander Varen's rage boiled into fear. How can they fight like this? "They were broken," he shouted. His officers stayed silent, eyes wide as more Varric ships exploded one by one. But Varen was not finished. "Activate the storm cannon," he ordered. "Erase them all!" A deep rumble filled the alien vessel. The front of the ship opened like a giant mouth glowing with deadly energy. A beam of white fire shot out, cutting through space. It tore through several human ships instantly, leaving only burning metal behind. On the horizon, alarms screamed. "Direct hit on Sector 6, Leia shouted. "We're losing ships fast!" Auric's face hardened. "Divert all power to shields. Hold the line." But the beam came again, stronger, wider, endless. The human fleet was being pushed back. Flames lit the bridge, sparks rained from the ceiling. "We can't outgun that weapon," Leia said, coughing through the smoke. Auric turned to her, his voice low but certain. "Then we don't outgun it. We outthink it." Leah's eyes met his, and she understood. Her ship, the Valor, still had one weapon left, its core reactor. She smiled faintly. "Tell them I did my duty." Before Auric could stop her, the Valor broke formation, charging straight at the alien flagship. The crew watched in silence as the small human ship flew into the mouth of the storm. Then, a blinding flash, a silent wave spread through the void. The flagship was gone, and so was Commander Varen. The light faded slowly, leaving behind a sea of wreckage. Pieces of broken ships drifted quietly through the black sky. The battle was over. The silence that followed felt heavier than the war itself. Captain Auric stood on the damaged bridge of the horizon. Flames flickered behind him and smoke curled along the floor. His crew moved in silence, faces pale and tired. The scanners showed what everyone already knew. The alien fleet was gone. Leah's ship, Valor, had disappeared in the explosion that destroyed the enemy flagship. No one spoke her name, but every heart carried her memory. "Status?" Auric asked softly. "Minimal power left, sir, but we won," his officer replied. Auric looked out the cracked window. The stars shimmered through the dust and ash. Slowly he whispered, "They thought humanity would fall easily, but they never understood what we are." The message was sent across every human channel. Victory at Epsilon Prime. All around the galaxy, those words echoed. Colonies cheered. refugees cried. Even soldiers on distant worlds stopped to listen. Humanity had survived. Again. In the ruins of space, human rescue ships moved through the debris collecting survivors. The blue planet below glowed faintly, its light reflecting off the silent ships above. Arik closed his eyes for a moment. "We're not the strongest," he said quietly. "Not the smartest. But when the universe pushes us down, we rise again."